This is Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance in Sacramento. I'm so glad that Jean Fuller is here. She is the Republican leader in the California State Senate, and we are both Southern Californians. Kern County, of course, is your home, and we haven't seen a lot of rain in Southern California, Senator.
No, we haven't. Unfortunately, you know, not only have we not gotten very much rain, but we've been letting a lot more water run out to the sea again from this last El Nino.
And let's be very specific about the frustrations I am hearing as a journalist myself. What I am hearing, and my guess is you're hearing the same, we voted for a water bond. We voted for a water bond that's $7.545 billion. $2.7 billion for storage. We know it takes time to start construction, but I don't even see a single shovel in terms of construction. What's happening?
That is absolutely the problem. The problem is that it seems like it's going very, very slowly. We always thought it would take up to 5 years.
That's okay.
But I think that at this point, especially since we've seen El Nino come and go, we're feeling like they really need to hurry.
And for Northern California, they did get some good rain.
Yes, they
did. I mean,
they did.
You know, I was flying into Sacramento, and I could see, I mean, these areas are flooded. The Sierra Nevadas are beautiful, and Lake Shasta is filled, and Shasta Mountain's beautiful, so
and
there's
it
water.
Stopped at about Fresno.
Yeah.
And not only did it stop at Fresno, but the snowpack is still really very low. It's a percentage of what it normally is, 87% in some places.
Right.
And they need like 50% in order to even get close to normal.
So what's the problem? I mean, is it regulation? Is it the bond market? What is it?
It's people continuing to argue over the best solutions for which storage to build and what has to be done.
I thought we know temperance flat and sites. I mean, I thought isn't that non-negotiable? I mean, Dems and Reaps agree?
Well, those were the two most prominent sites. Those are the two we believed would be done, but it seems that there continues to be some arguing. And
who's arguing?
Well, I think it's, you know, there is a commission that's working on this, and you know, Department of Water Resources is also working on it. But it just seems that it's very slow, that they could speed up the work.
Is CEQA a problem?
Well, CEQA is always a problem.
I didn't feel like you were going to say that.
It's not supposed to be a problem in this case, but it's always a problem.
Right.
And the other thing is just sort of the meeting after meeting and hearing after hearing that slows things down.
And it plays right into the narrative that California is an overregulated state that can't get out of its own way.
Absolutely.
But I guess I'm optimistic, and the reason is I know you and your friends in the Democratic Party worked so well together on this issue. And so, I mean, it was really epic. I'm getting chills. It was epic how well you worked together in 2014. And so, why is it that we're now a year and a half out and we're still...
One of the reasons is I think I'm one of the few members who worked on that bond deal that are left. I mean, you know, we have a whole new crop of legislators that are just trying to get up to speed.
Right.
Not that we're doing that much about the bond right now. It's really supposed to be, DWR doing
it's
most
out of
it.
your purview.
Yeah, it's the agencies.
Right.
But just the same, in order to keep the pressure up, to keep the oversight up, to keep things moving, to keep looking down the road and saying how do we, between now and then, how do we continue to make this solution better? That's harder.
I'm wondering if the new speaker is Anthony Rendon, and I know you and Mr. Rendon worked very well together to put the water bond together. So is the fact that he's ascended to speaker help?
Oh yes, it will help. It definitely will. It does help to have people who have worked on the issues and are willing to to get out there and continue to work on it.
I want to ask about Kern County though. I mean,
we are so frustrated.
It breaks my heart because I think about Kern County and how critical ag is to, not just Bakersfield, but the whole area, and it's still so dry.
Yes.
How are your neighbors doing? How are your constituents doing?
Well, then actually, they're very, very frustrated. As of early March, we lost over 733,000 acre-feet of water, which is enough water for 155,000 acres.
And when you say we lost it, meaning because we couldn't capture it?
Because instead of capturing it, which we had the ability to do actually, the Fish and Game decided to let it run out to sea, to release.
And so that really begs the question, because look, it's always a balance. We know it's a balance. What's the balance? I mean, I'm not a scientist. I mean, you are a former superintendent, so you're smart. So, I mean, what's
the balance is basically that in times of extreme danger or drought, that we have exemptions that allow us to do some things a little differently. One of those things would be to raise more fish in like hatcheries and things if we need to do that. If the water level was really low for 2 years and we let it out at that level, and then suddenly we have El Nino and we let that extra water go out on top of the low water, how does that help anything?
So,
it did not.
So how can you, as a member of the legislature, as the GOP leader in the Senate, impact this question? Is it, do you need legislation? Do you need hearings? Do you need the Democrats? How does this work?
Well, of course, it's better if all of us work together on this issue. But one of the things that I did do was I went back to D.C. and I met with the U.S. Department of Interior and I asked them, what is their plan for capturing this El Nino water way back when it was first predicted, and asking how to help publicize it in California so Californians could understand how they could save this water. Another thing that I did was I worked with Kevin McCarthy, Congressman Kevin McCarthy.
Number 2 in the House.
Yes, and we whipped up the California delegation, and we
Dems
put
and
out.
Reaps?
Yeah, well, in this case, this was all Reaps, both California and congressional congressmen from California, and we put out letters to the president and the governor, and basically said, we really need you to capture this water from El Nino.
But Senator, you know here.
And we worked across the aisle with like Senator Feinstein and some others. Yes, I met with her many times and talked about how can we try to move some things forward.
But the problem is, in my perception, while Senator Feinstein and Congressman McCarthy are trying to work together, Democrat, Republican, they're still finger pointing on the issue. You know, Sacramento, y'all point fingers a bit, but it's a little more congenial here. And in Washington, it's hard to get any action.
Well, the real problem, the real problem is if the administration would direct the
federal administration,
would direct the agency heads to make emergency measures for California through this drought, it could easily be done to increase the pumping. And they could do something with the endangered species law that was helpful during this period, because if we do that in California, to modify CEQA, then NEQA just does it in anyway.
Well, let me ask you, it appears as we speak that this year did not bring what we needed.
That's
and
correct.
I assume we're going to be calling this year the 5th year of drought. And so do you anticipate that since El Nino was El Nono, that we may get some action, be it in California or Washington?
Well, Congressman Kevin McCarthy and other House Republicans have been sending more letters, and the one that Senator Dianne Feinstein said was interesting, that she sent to the president. It called for an increase in Delta pumping, stating that if we can't increase pumping during an El Nino year, when can we?
So we even have Democratic United States Senator Dianne Feinstein weighing in. So,
and it's true. If we have extra water coming, why didn't we capture that water? Why are we just letting it run out to the sea? I mean, obviously we got by on the levels that were before. So anyway, it takes pressure. It takes people kind of screaming and yelling until the problem becomes so very apparent that it cannot be ignored.
Her name is Jean Fuller. She is the GOP leader in the California State Senate. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
My name is Brad Pomerance in Sacramento. It's Local Edition.